Empathia Life Matters. We will talk about that in a moment. So again, welcome. My name is Jessica. I will be facilitating today's training. I have my bachelor's and my master's in psychology, 20 plus years of professional experience. Most of that consists of providing mental health services in community-based agencies, and I've been contracting with Life Matters now for several years. And I provide on-site as well as these virtual trainings on just a variety of subjects matter. So welcome, and let me briefly discuss your Life Matters benefit if this is applicable to you. This is your EAP, or Employee Assistance Program, and it is designed to be your work and life benefit. It is free. It's a confidential service that's available to you and those living in your household 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days out of the year. We are here to support you, to assist you with questions or concerns you have regarding anything life or work may present. So I like to give some examples. It will not encompass everything, but just so we know how much is available to support you with wellness, as well as maybe areas of intention or growth. It doesn't necessarily need to be a problem in your life per se. So mental health symptoms, stress, health and wellness, parenting and relationship questions. It can also be relevant to workplace. Maybe you want to improve your ability to communicate, or how you address conflict, time management, personal effectiveness strategies, preventing burnout, setting boundaries, and a vast list of others, of course. You also have legal, financial, convenience resources, specialist referrals. There's some great information online, pre-recorded webinars, up-to-date current information. And you can access your benefit either by calling, getting online, or downloading the app. So today we are on the Zoom platform, and really what that means for you, the housekeeping items are: go ahead and stay muted for the time being. You can turn off your video as well. There will be opportunities for participation. Please go ahead and use that chat box. I will monitor it throughout today's training. Any questions, concerns, or feedback, please feel free to use that. And then of course, we will have time at the end too as well. There's a handout that corresponds to today's training. I've incorporated a lot of that content in, but it is very useful to use to revisit post-training, because we're going to be talking a lot about some interesting things and how we can prepare ourselves emotionally, mentally. And so we'll work through some prompts and questions as a group today. Now, transition to retirement can mean a variety of different things to a variety of different people. For many people, it is more than just stepping away from a career or a job. There's a lot of things to consider. So when do I stop working? When do I start collecting Social Security? Where should retirement be? Is there a relocation that may be beneficial? Is it time to size down? Do I tiptoe into this process, or is it all about making a splash? Should I just jump right into retirement? Do I have enough in savings? That's a lot to think about, a lot to ponder, a lot to plan. But notice how I didn't mention anything about the emotional well-being. Oftentimes we forget the importance of how we're feeling. And usually retiring is thought of like this reward, right? No more stress, no more 9 to 5, no more anxiety. But we overlook the psychological impact. And after that initial honeymoon period starts to settle in, we may start to miss our sense of purpose, our identity, the meaning, not to mention the social aspects that perhaps our professional lives provided to us. And then what happens? That anxiety, that depressive-like symptoms, perhaps they return because we're not feeling fulfilled, or we're bored, or isolated. For some retirees, grief does present itself. It's the loss of an old life. New stressors can present themselves, and mental health symptoms can surface. So let me introduce you to what we're going to be talking about today. In the third quarter of 2021, 50.3% of US adults aged 55 and older said that they were out of the labor force due to retirement. And 66.9% of ages 65 to 74 were retired. Now, research is trending, it's tracking, it is suggesting there will be an uptick in retirement with future acceleration. And many people only think of the fun, the relaxation. It's going to be travel and leisure and families. There's thinking about the financial planning as well, but there's so much more that goes into it. Retirement is more than just an event. It is a process. And the truth of the matter is, no matter how prepared you were or how much you've been looking forward to it, there can be that decline in our emotional health. So today we're going to talk about retirement. It's that passage from a life of work to a life of choice. But like other major transitions, there can be adjustments, emotions, concerns. So we'll discuss the phases of retirement. How do we mentally prepare for it? And how do we go about doing that? Potential hazards that we may come across, let's plan for those. Opportunities that will become available. The opportunities will absolutely exceed the pitfalls. And then some tips to reaching a rewarding retirement because good things are coming. So whether retirement presents a struggle or you're just planning the transition soon or you're faced with early retirement, please be assured there are healthy and adaptive ways to proceed in life and the next chapter that are really going to promote happiness and success. I was actually reading this article in the American Psychological Association, APA, and the message it was reinforcing is tending to your psychological portfolio as much as your financial one. And that's exactly what we're here to talk about today. As far as the handout, I did see that comment come in. I am not sure how, if it was provided to you. Let me follow up with the host at the end, and we'll get some clarity on how we can get that to those of you who are attending today. So I imagine many of us have thought about our golden years. So before we dive in, I want to hear from you. What comes to mind when you think of retirement? Pause, reflect for a second, and then drop it in the chat box, and we'll kind of see what our peers are saying. What comes to mind? What messages have you received? And then I'm going to share some that come in. Travel. We're having a theme of travel. Taking a breath, right? An intentional, like, okay, this is the cornerstone. Time to volunteer, sleeping in, pursuing hobbies. Ooh, lots of volunteer work. Loving this. Having a plan, sleeping in, more recreation, choosing the adventure, no more grading. Freedom. Every day, do as I please. That sounds glorious. Lucky you. Time with family, volunteering, thinking about what I want to do when I grow up next. We're going to talk about that because sometimes that retirement, there's still like this second career that sometimes happens. Taking a breath and choosing a new path. Save ahead of time. Retirement can be expensive. Yes, for sure. Opportunities to volunteer. See, all of this sounds amazing. Now, also, when you think about work, like how would you complete the sentence? Work is what? Work is what? Maybe just one word, maybe a phrase. Work is anxiety, it's confining, it's fulfilling. Good. Work is my commitment, it's fun. stressful, draining. What else? My identity. Yeah, we're going to talk about that as well. It's intellectually stimulating. Love that. Fulfilling. No longer challenging, interesting. It's the demand of life and living. It's a blessing and I curse, the dichotomy. Yes. Challenging but stressful. Okay, switching gears. So, finishing the sentence, retirement is. Just pick one word. Retirement is what? Opportunity. Scary. Freedom. Relief. Relaxing. More scary. New challenges. Opportunity to intentionally change. Daunting, freedom, and accomplishment, opportunities, reflection, relief, a privilege. Yeah, let that sink in. Choices, the unknown, the opportunity to serve elsewhere, rest and new opportunities. It's wanted. Ooh, too soon. Depressing, earned, refocus, take a breath, a change process. Yes, a change process that can be very similar to grief. It's a time to do many things. All right, so what I'm sensing is that there's some uncertainty. And so I'm hoping after today's training that maybe we feel a little bit more at ease, or at least we can start making an action plan to take the scary away, to take the daunting, the unknown, and make it a little bit comfortable. So whether you thought of work as mundane or exciting or dreadful or rewarding, we often imagine retirement as the travel, the loved ones, the warm beaches, the swinging the clubs. More often than not, our ideal days in retirement, they look magical, they look delightful. I just want to prepare us so that we're not hit with this new reality that we weren't quite anticipating. So let's talk about the retirement phases. Okay, to follow up on the handout, I will email the host the handout after today's training, and hopefully we can get that to everyone. All right, the phases of retirement. Yes, it's true these phases do not occur in the same way in every single circumstances. But these phases have been proven to exist through numerous rounds of research and been used as a general guideline. In other words, let this psychoeducation on phases assist you with being proactive and start planning a fulfilling post-career life. So phase one is pre-retirement. This is the phase, as it sounds, prior to the actual retirement. There can be some disengagement from the workplace and planning for what retirement will entail. It's generally a time of combined anxiety, but excitement. So we can be anxious about the finances and getting everything in order, but we're excited for the freedom that we see in the future. This phase usually occurs anywhere from 3 to 5 years, but sometimes 15 years before retirement, depending on what your planning looks like. Often in this stage, the emotional planning is 100% ignored. In fact, there may be little fun and little effort even exploring it. Now, the next phase, you hit retirement, which is when you actually retire. And this phase usually manifests itself in 3 different ways. The honeymoon, and this is characterized by feeling and acting as if one is on vacation indefinitely. People become very busy doing many of the leisure activities that they never had time for previously, especially travel. And we saw that come up in the chat box. It's about enjoying the new freedoms of retirement. And some people will sit in this space for a good year or two. Now, if we don't do honeymoon phase, perhaps we're going to go into the immediate retirement routine path. And this is adopted by those who already had a full and active schedule in addition to their employment. So typically, these individuals easily establish like a comfortable yet busy schedule right after retirement. Or maybe rest and relaxation path is your place of where you're headed. And this is a period of low activity, especially if you compare it to the honeymoon path. People have been very busy with their careers and their families and all those responsibilities. And so in these early years, they just want to be mellow. So activity levels are a little bit more soft, quiet, not as busy. Now, I want you to take a moment to think about which path you think you're going to take. And again, I will invite more participation. If you feel very confident or you have kind of an idea of what path you're going to go into, maybe share with the group which path and a why. If we based it off some of the past participation, it feels like a good, maybe jumping straight into honeymoon, and some, maybe that rest and relaxation. And one attendee says, whichever one my wife tells me, she's on this call as well. Love that. This is so great that you are both here together, because a lot of the homework that I encourage is having these conversations with whomever you may be enjoying your retirement years with. To be decided, to discuss with partner. Yes, perfect. Honeymoon, looking forward to it so much. Will change over time, I'm sure. Yeah, you're not going to be in honeymoon forever. The retirement, immediate retirement, expanding on those projects, more hammock time. That sounds like rest and relaxation. The honeymoon to do things while we're still young and able. Started a sole proprietorship company for knitting projects. So immediate retirement. Congratulations on that. The mix, perfect. The blending, the honeymoon for the travels and the volunteer. Briefly the honeymoon, but pretty quickly into immediate retirement. I've already been thinking about activities and routine, but we'll need the break first. Good. My spouse has been already retired, so immediate retirement. I'm afraid I'll become a total couch potato. I think maybe that sounds like you're going to head into the rest and relaxation and then maybe find some routine. Yes, so some are a little concerned about retiring fully, like right away. And so, yes, we'll talk about how the transition could be into like a part-time or purposeful role, like volunteer. Okay, what will we do for structure? We're going to talk about that. And I have some prompts that we'll discuss as well. Good. Thank you, everyone, for being so vocal today. I truly appreciate it. So, for some people, adjusting to retirement is not going to be like this easy experience. If people choose the honeymoon path or a time of continued rest and relaxation, there can be a period of disappointment or uncertainty that follows. It's not a guarantee. Remember, these are soft guidelines. Disenchantment. There can be feelings of disappointment or disillusionment. There can be downside, loneliness, boredom, feeling useless. We want to pay attention to these feelings. If not addressed, we could be more susceptible to depression. Generally, those who follow the path of immediate retirement routine, they're going to continue with this busy yet very comfortable schedule from pre-retirement through to retirement. But a person they may miss the feelings of productivity that they experienced when they were working. Disenchantment with retirement can also occur if there's a significant disruption in the retirement experience. undesired move, significant change in finances, illness, death of a loved one. And so it can be marked by uncertainty. The next phase, reorientation, this can be described as the most challenging stage. Now, the reason being is that reorientation tends to occur as the retirement to-do list is complete. And a feeling of loss of purpose has started to settle in. So after a period of rest and relaxation or feelings of disenchantment, it is common for people to take inventory. What is the retirement experience like? And then outline ways that they can improve this role. So the newness, the excitement about the retirement's worn off. You may have possibly gone through phase 3 where you felt kind of down and now you realize that you want to do something more and be something more. Volunteer, like many of you said, maybe it's community activities or taking up a new hobby that came up, could be relocating. It's kind of marked by this like second chance of retirement. A common goal of reorientation is to design a retirement lifestyle that is satisfying and enjoyable. So keep in mind that many planning people, they're good. The emotional, the mental, the physical aspects is great. And some will not experience the disenchantment. But we're talking about it today so we can plan for it. But think of this, that reorientation, it is this opportunity for rediscovery. Now, once you have mastered phase 4, designing an enjoyable lifestyle, you will move into phase 5, routine. You are mastering retirement. And this is a time that occurs generally 5 to 10 years, as many as 15 into the retirement process. During this phase, you have achieved a comfortable balance, relaxation, enjoyment, productivity, purpose, activity. It's about reconciliation and stability. Retirees feel content, hopeful. It's even marked by less depression, less anxiety. However, it's noteworthy that the health conditions are more prevalent during this stage, and there can be a focus on maintaining health and independence. And that directly links to the comment that came in. Many folks we knew didn't last long after retiring, even when retiring young. We don't know. We don't know. So we plan as best as possible. And again, I just want to say not every person is going to experience each stage. Not every person will experience each stage as intensely or even for the same period of time. But most will experience this process in some form. So we'll spend the rest of our time talking about the mental and emotional aspects of this and the stuff that you can take away. And we're going to start with evaluating our expectations. So we have a few areas to explore here, and this would be great to take a screenshot here, or if you're writing notes, to take this is what you want to talk about with those around you who might be impacted by your retirement. So what are your expectations about your marriage or your significant relationships that you hold? What are your expectations regarding your relationships with your kids and maybe grandkids, if this is applicable? What are your expectations on your leisure activities, your physical health, your volunteer and employment? And here's where I'm going to invite more participation. I always love this prompt because it's not something we necessarily think about. When you're retired, What do you foresee a typical Wednesday afternoon looking like for you? What do you think? Feel free to share if you'd like. Coffee and NPR. Perfect. Boredom. Not a clue. So that is what we want to be planning for, right? In the summer, heading to the river to kayak, then return home to read a book. I like that. Well, first of all, do I have to tell my wife? I mean, once she knows I'm retired, she'll have all kinds of chores for me to do. And there's humor in this, but probably a lot of truth, right? It's the chance to get that to-do list done or to stay busy or, when you have a second, which means let's execute that project right now. Finishing morning projects, walking the dog, band practice, coffee, reading a book, taking a walk, being active in the garden, the yard, taking a nap, taking a bike ride, walking to the library with a game, hoping to find someone to play, and coffee, reading, lots of reading, spending time in nature. That's a good one. Spending time with cats, volunteering at the local food pantry, more walk, moving our body, very important. Yoga, reading, piano, coursework on French language, refreshing the skills, and yard work. See how it's so different for each one of us? I encourage you to evaluate what your expectations are on each one of these and how you will make those expectations a reality. And we want to think about that. And mentally preparing, you'll want to expand. Like, how realistic are these expectations? Who do I need to share my expectations with? What will make these things happen? How will you feel if retirement turns out to be far different than you expected? Expectations such as these are some of the things that can really throw people for a loop. In life in general, I was just having a conversation with my daughter about this yesterday. She's away at college, she's a freshman. She's telling me all these things. And I'm like, what do we talk about assuming or expectations? Like when we're attached to one outcome, we could get disappointed. But if we let go and kind of let life unfold, there's a lot of opportunity out there. So, yeah, we want to plan, but we want to explore these expectations and how do we make these a reality. But we also need to stay flexible in this process. We want to minimize any potential disappointment. Now, because our emotions can be a significant obstacle in life, we want to get in touch with that as well. Talk to someone about how you feel regarding the impending changes in your life. Look at all the aspects, but particularly the emotional part. Talk about the change because this will help you and those who are part of your life prepare to help you with the emotions that you might go through. Examine within yourself what it is that truly makes you tick. Is it politics, sports, finances, art, foreign language, knitting, being outside, music? Determine what interests you and plan a way to make it part of your life in retirement. Keep in mind, we want it to be realistic. I always use the example like if you've never swung a club a day in your life and you're like, oh, I'm going to go pro, maybe not. It may be unlikely. So you want to really think realistically about what you enjoy. And it's also caution to not make any huge, grand, wide, sweeping changes, big decisions during the transition time. People who retire and immediately move to another state, they wind up suffering major losses. The loss of their work-related identity, the loss of their relationship network, their social support. You really want to take it one step at a time. So let's say, oh, well, we were planning on moving. That's fine. But make that change slower. How can you integrate that change even prior to retirement? Is it taking a few vacations there? Is it researching some of the activities that you could be doing? This will make that new environment a better part of your life right when you are there, so that when you move, the change doesn't have to feel so dramatic. But in that same breath, don't rush to make those grand choices. Give yourself permission to even change your mind. Decisions at this stage are complex, so you want to make informed ones. And be aware that relationships are very, very important to our well-being. They bring us joy, happiness, meaning, and in order to sustain happiness, we don't want to lose sight of social connections. So you also want to explore, how much time do you think you're going to spend with friends, family, a partner, a spouse, someone special in your life? This should be the time that you are 100% looking forward to. Plan for the emotional aspects as well. Now, some of those potential pitfalls. Yes, it's an exciting time. We've always wanted to be there. It helps to be realistic about the hazards that could come along with retirement in order to avoid falling into any type of negative situation. So we can take some time to think about these as well. Again, take a screenshot if you want. The three most common emotional problems that occur when people retire are: number one, identity loss. When people ask us who we are, oftentimes we reply by like our job title or our career path. Oh, I'm an analyst. I'm a customer service. I'm a director. I'm a professor. I'm an account executive. So what happens when we retire, we lose that title, which for some is closely tied to identity. So if you think this might be an issue for you, start thinking about your identity outside of your professional role. Are you an avid hobbyist? Are you a volunteer? Are you a sportsman? Are you an environmentalist? But keep in mind, many people are more than happy and proud to just declare themselves retired. So number one, identity loss. Number two is a lack of fulfillment. Remember, majority of us, we work for a reason besides the monetary ones. Oftentimes we are in a profession because we have passion for it. It fills something up for us aside from the money. So once you retire, that need will still be there. What need does your career fill for you? How will you address the need without a career? Okay, so number one, identity loss. Number two, lack of fulfillment. Number three, handling time and relationships. You may be home more. If you have a significant other or someone that you're sharing retirement with, explore your retirement goals. Does it look the same? Does it look different? What are the expectations? How are we going to plan for these pitfalls? All of these things should be communicated and addressed and discussed in as much advance as possible. How do you view retirement? Now we can also plan for these things. So if I was to experience a loss of meaning or purpose, what could I do? Action plan. If I'm to experience an identity loss, I can what? If I feel too much freedom or bored or an increase in relationship conflicts, I can. So I'll say it again, I'll say it loud and proud. Opportunities provided by retirement exceed the potential hazards. We don't want to let it pass us by. We're just going to plan the mental and emotional aspects so we could take advantage of all of the opportunities. Here's some ways to do that. I'd like to learn. I'd like to go. I'd like to return to. I'd like to try. I'd like to keep doing. And the thing I like most to do is, and when you process these things, you can then design how you're going to make that happen. Maybe it is spending time with family or a step down in your career. Maybe you want to dabble in something part-time or take up a hobby or get involved in the community or just enjoying life. So when we think of the rewards, in general, you should feel more want to than less have to. More unstructured time, more choices, and this beautiful opportunity to build priorities around what is important to you. Deepening relationships with family and friends, community service, arts. Now is the time maybe to bring your professional life in line with your deeper values. Even education. We should continually be challenging our mind. New and stimulating challenges are very, very important for the brain. Even schools and universities cater to continuing education on like a class by class or part-time basis. Online, maybe it's just a workshop. But embrace the growth. Also something we should always be doing. Give life to your energy by finding a community of people that also embrace growth and change. We don't want to feel stuck or complacent in retirement. And it's still okay to take risks. Many people find themselves trying new things in retirement that they never even dreamed of. Respond to opportunity. Remain open to the possibilities the world has to offer you. Really, a new potential lies ahead. And maybe we don't give up on that childhood dream we had either. Always moving our body, continuing, very, very important, that physical health, exercise, recharge your system, walk, dance, swim, hike, yoga, biking, gardening, yard work. Find everything you really enjoy and make it part of your health regimen. And if you have any other reward that you would like to add to this list, feel free to. Would love to hear it. So lots of things to think about. This training is a very in-depth, but post-training work is crucial here. So we talked about those phases of retirement, the psychoeducation, how we can prepare mentally, emotionally, some of those hazards, those barriers, and of course the opportunities and rewards. What you want is a well-developed plan. I always say, like, don't just shoot from the hip or go with the flow. We want that awareness surrounding retirement and consider how it's going to meet all of your needs. There might not be a way to prepare for every single high, and every single low. But your chance of being happy and healthy and excited will be far better when you familiarize yourself with the emotional aspects well in advance. And if you want additional support on this topic or any other topic that we have that I mentioned or maybe didn't mention, please reach out to Life Matters. We can absolutely support you. If you have any questions, comments, or feedback, feel free to ask, to interject here. If not, thank you for being here. Thank you for being part of your day. I hope it was insightful and engaging. So thank you again.